Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a brand new video for you guys and it's a Zodiac video, of course. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashley and I make astrology videos here on YouTube. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that I don't know why I've never brought up before. It's pretty much just like a main toxic trait that each sign has a tendency to kind of gravitate towards. So pretty much we all have toxic tendencies. Unfortunately, it's just a fact. But this is a toxic trait that I think that each sign kind of embodies more than any other trait, you know? Also, I made myself a little ice cap, whatever you want to call it. It was ice, simple syrup, coffee, and soy milk, and it's actually so good. I barely drink coffee anymore, so when I do, I enjoy it. Okay guys, so I went on a little break for like 2 months, and I feel like my ideas are getting really repetitive, and I've been saying this for a while now. So if anybody has any ideas on what I should record for my channel, please let me know. I don't see myself doing like compatibility videos because then I'd have to do one for every sign and that would literally be like 100 videos. But if you guys have any ideas on what I should do like about the signs in general, then let me know and I will do it. So before I get into the video, I wanted to talk about something that I've been using recently that I really love. As you guys know, it's summertime. I moved last year and I live in an apartment right now that does not have AC. I don't know what it is about Toronto apartments, they don't have AC, so it gets really hot in here. So obviously I need a very good deodorant so I can stay fresh all day, I can feel good, I can see people, and you know, feel nice and clean and fresh. So I've been using Native Deodorant, and I'm really happy to have switched to Native Deodorant because I've been using a lot of like drugstore deodorants and, you know, the non-natural ones, because Native is natural. I'll talk about it more in a second. But yeah, I've been using a lot of like those deodorants have lots of chemicals and stuff, and I just feel like I never smell that fresh. I don't know what it is about the deodorants I've been using in the past, but I just don't smell that fresh. I feel like I smell like sweat mixed with fruit, and it's just like not cute. But what I love about Native is that you actually just smell like the deodorant, you know? So, and the scents are really cool. So I got a couple scents. I got coconut and vanilla, citrus and herbal musk. Is it herbal or herbal? And lavender and rose. So it smells so yummy. Here, you guys take a whiff. I like this one because it's moisturizing, it's not sticky, it's not flaky, it's really moisturizing, and it feels smooth when you're applying it. It lasts super long, so you keep smelling the smell throughout the day. Like I said, I got a couple scents. So this one's the coconut vanilla. I wish you guys could smell it. It literally smells like, oh my god, it smells like vanilla iced coffee with like coconut milk. Like what? And then the citrus and herbal musk smells like kind of like cologne, but a girly cologne, but not perfume. I don't know, it smells really good. It smells, this is the kind of smell that you'd want if you're going to the gym, because it's very strong, but it's also still very like it's like gender neutral. It's like feminine, masculine. It's, I don't know, but it smells really good. Then the lavender, it literally smells like lavender. This is lavender and rose. I smell like essential oil lavender a lot. Out of all of them though, the coconut one, that is my favorite. It literally just like makes me want to drink iced coffee with coconut milk. So I know we're all in quarantine, so we're probably all going for walks and runs and rollerblades. I like rollerblading, biking, all that stuff. So obviously you want to be smelling fresh. These actually keep you dry and clean and fresh for the whole day, and I love that. So this is what the packaging looks like in case anyone is curious. They all look the same, just different colors. They're really cute. Very simple. So if you are interested in getting them, you can definitely use the link in my bio along with the coupon code. So I got 3. Normally you can get 3 for $33, but with my little coupon code and link, you can get it for $24. So 3 deodorants for $24, which is a really good price. So that's actually 33% off. So it's a really good deal. So if you are interested, you can definitely click the link in my description. All right guys, so thanks so much for listening to that. I hope you guys don't mind that I do some sponsored videos every now and then. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the toxic traits of each zodiac sign. So as I mentioned, it's pretty much a not so favorable trait that you might find that you are, or someone of a zodiac sign might be. So if you're a Taurus, then you might be this. Or if your man's a Taurus, you might notice he's this. And so when I talk about this, you might be like, ah, that explains it. So it's not just a him thing, it's a Taurus thing. How can I work through this? So I'm just gonna talk to you about some of those traits. So I'm gonna say like one main trait for each person. Obviously there are other traits that you might be, and if you guys like the whole concept of this video, I can make another video like this, but for now I'm just going to talk about like each trait so that I can give it more time. Okay, so it's still Gemini season, which by the way feels like it's been going on for forever. Why is it still Gemini season? So a toxic trait in the Gemini is that you guys have a tendency to take things to the extreme. So what this means is that you can be very overreactive, and you don't really realize it sometimes. So it can be good and bad, but we're talking about the bad today. With this trait, I'll give you an example of being overreactive or taking things to the extreme. So let's say you're at the workplace, right? You're a Gemini, and someone comes to you and they're like, hey, so-and-so is talking bad about you, blah, 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 blah. The Gemini, they take things to the extreme. So instead of just, you know, rationalizing it and thinking through it and processing it and thinking about, okay, like, how can I respond to the situation? Does this need a response? Blah, 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 blah. The Gemini will overreact and will, like shut shit down. So let's say your friend came to you in confidence and told you not to tell anybody that someone's talking about you. You will just disregard that and take it to the extreme and tell everybody that this person talking about you. Go confront the person, cuss them out, go tell your manager, this person's talking about me, I want them written up, this is making me uncomfortable in the workplace, and just like fuck shit up. And later on you'll think about it and be like, I didn't need to do all that, did I? In the moment you were acting out of, like, you know, anger, emotion, which is interesting because you guys are very logical side. You guys don't usually act out of emotion, but I feel like when it comes to certain things you can, and in those moments it's not just like, oh, I'm just acting out of emotion a little bit. It's like you take it too far. So the good thing is this doesn't happen that often, but when it happens it's very toxic. So another example could be if you're in a relationship and you think your man's cheating, instead of just asking them about something you saw, or, you know, or trying to get to the bottom of things in a mature way, you might just like blow up on them and get angry at them and accuse them of this and call them names and try and hunt the other woman down and make false accusations about someone that is not even involved in your relationship, and just like do too much. Like, you guys do the most, and it causes way more problems. And I think it's very, very toxic, because a lot of the times once the Gemini is in a clear state of mind again, like, they're not that apologetic about it. Like, you guys can be very like nonchalant about it, but in your mind you know what you did, but you just choose not to address it, and you choose not to like say, oh, you know what, maybe I took it too far. You just kind of retreat and act like it never happened, and that's toxic. So if you're a Gemini and you resonate with this, I think it's important that you become aware of this. If you can't control when you do this, okay, no, you can control it because you're human and, you know, you're able to. But if you're having a hard time controlling yourself when you do this, then try and control how you act afterwards. Instead of brushing it under the rug and acting like it never happened, maybe you should start addressing it, and maybe you should start saying like, hey, I shouldn't have reacted this way. Hey, I took it too far. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And that might just make things better for you and your situation. So the Cancer, your toxic trait is that you can be very needy and insecure. And I know you're probably like, oh my God, Ashley, you always say that. Yes, I say it because it's true. The Cancer can be needy and insecure. And I'm going to make this specific to relationships. So this is in either romantic relationships or friendships, but mostly romantic. The people around you sometimes feel like they need to babysit you because you're very, very needy, and you feel like you're not, but it's because you're so emotional that you come across as needy, and you are pretty needy. You just don't realize it. So like, what this means is like, you constantly feel the need to express your emotions and express it so that somebody can make you feel better. It's not even like you just need an ear. Like, you're kind of relying on people to make you feel better a lot of the times, and that gets draining for your partner sometimes, or your friend. And I'm not saying that like you shouldn't be able to feel like you can go to them and, you know, get their advice and stuff, but the thing is, you take it to the extreme, and you're someone that, like, if you're sad every day for 3 weeks, you're gonna need to talk to your person and tell them how sad you are every day for 3 weeks and have them make you feel better. And it's gonna kind of become their job to make you feel better and make you happy because you're very needy. And that's not okay, because they're gonna feel like they're like your emotional babysitter, and that they can't really be happy because it's like you're not, and it just becomes very, very excessive and needy. And then the insecure part, it comes into play when you're like, you know, in the relationship and you just need that reassurance always, and you constantly are questioning them or just need them to make you feel better about yourself, which goes into like what I just said. And it's just kind of unfair. It's unfair because that is something you need to do for yourself. There are Cancers that are a lot better with this, but I feel like when you've established like a deep connection, emotional connection, that's when this comes out. And like obviously not all of you are going to resonate with this, but it definitely is a trait that many Cancers have, and it's not fair. It's something you should work on. Like if you're feeling insecure about something, it's not always something that you need to get reassurance for. Sometimes you need to just battle it in your mind. So if your boyfriend is going to the club for his friend's birthday, right? You can't get mad at him and make him feel guilty for going to the club for his friend's birthday, especially if, like, let's say he's not a clubber and he doesn't go at all, he's just going for his homie's birthday. You can't get mad at him because that's something you got to work on internally. Like, you need to process that in your own mind. You need to work through that, figure out how to, like, you know, figure out how to not be affected by it. But you can't be mad at your boyfriend because he's going to his friend's birthday celebration. Like, that's an insecurity, and that's valid if you feel like it's valid, but it's not their job to make you feel better about it all the time, because it's something that is just, it's, you're, you know, like you can't expect all that from someone if you're the one that's insecure, unless they're doing things to make you insecure. If they're fucking posting stories where they're pouring bottles down girls' throats, or like there's like 20, 30 hot girls surrounding them and they're like ignoring your messages, and then that's different if they're doing something wrong. But if they're literally just like going to a friend's birthday and you trust them but you're feeling insecure, you have to work through that, or it becomes very toxic. So the Leo, you guys, we know this, I'm just gonna come out and say it, you guys are already expecting me to say it, the world revolves around you, and that is your toxic trait, that you act as though the world revolves around you. It's unfair sometimes. Like, to be confident is great, to love yourself is great, to put yourself first can be very great sometimes, but to act like the world revolves around you is not fair. Because I find that like a lot of Leos, what they seek in friendships, for example, is like to have someone that can be in their shadow, because they want to always have the attention. Or for example, they want to always be the loudest, the funniest, the best looking, the most entertaining person in the room, and they kind of like step on people's toes to get there. Those are like not so toxic. Those are just, you know, unfair to the people around them. But when it gets toxic is in arguments and in like friendships and relationships. So in arguments, it's hard because the Leo always thinks that they're right and that their feelings are more valid than the other person, and that their thoughts are more important, and that their way is the only way. And it's exhausting because they don't really hear people out. So like when you're arguing, for example, if you're a Leo, you might find that when you're arguing, you're constantly just waiting for the person to stop talking so you can say your piece and let them know why you're upset and why you're feeling this and why you're angry and why you're this, without really taking their feelings into consideration. For you, having an argument is more about winning rather than working through it and getting to the bottom of why you're arguing. You just kind of want to have the last say, and that's not important really if you're trying to work on something with someone, because it just makes the other person feel like they're less than you and that their feelings aren't valid, and it belittles them, and it's not nice. Another thing is that when you're around people don't feel like they're being heard, not just in arguments, like in general. You constantly just want to be better than the people around you. You always want people to do great but not better than you, and it gets toxic. You just need to kind of put yourself in check and understand that like there's always going to be someone better than you, and sometimes you might be the person that's better than other people. Cool, but like it's not about that, because at the end of the day we're all human, we're all equal, you know what I mean? To be better is not a real thing. So just focus on you, but in an unselfish way, you know, like focus on you without comparing yourself to others. And in relationships with others, stop worrying about having the last word and being the loudest and doing, because sometimes people just want you around for your energy, for your being, and they just want to be heard by you, and they want you to listen to them. Like they don't want you to constantly be like hearing their stories and trying to one up them and like little things like that. So just focus more on the people around you. And that kind of contradicts myself. I just contradicted myself because I just said focus on you, but they're in two different contexts. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So like focus on the people around you and their feelings and what they're saying, but when it comes to like what you're doing in life, focus on you, because you don't need to compare yourself to other people just to be better than them. That doesn't matter at the end of the day. It really doesn't. Okay, so the toxic trait in the Virgo is that you guys think you know best. all the time, and you guys are like perfectionists. So this leads to being very critical. You guys always think you know best, and it's something about the Virgo that because they're so analytical and, you know, they just know things about people, they always feel like they know better than anyone else what a given situation could be, or how someone's feeling, or what's going on in life. You know what I mean? They constantly just feel like they know best and better than anyone. And this leads to them kind of imposing on people's life a lot. So when someone doesn't ask for an opinion, if you're a Virgo, you might find yourself constantly giving your opinion and telling someone how to do something and getting them to do something the right way. But the right way is only the right way because it's your way, but people are not always like you, and you don't know everything. Like, you don't. And I know you think you do, and you're so sure of a lot of things, but you guys just don't know everything, and you don't know what's best for everyone, and you have to understand that and just let people live their lives and let people make mistakes and let people fuck up and just stay out of it sometimes. Like, you guys just gotta stay out of it because you guys get very, very critical, and when you're being critical, it comes off as you belittling someone or acting like someone knows less than you or someone's not as smart as you. And sometimes you just got to take a step back and let people do their own thing and just fuck up. And you don't have to tell them I told you so. I know you're a perfectionist and you want people to know, you know, how they can do something, but just stay out of it sometimes, because that's when people feel like they're like under a microscope with you. And when people feel like they're under a microscope with you, A, they're bound to fuck up even more. B, they start to want to start like not telling you things, or their confidence goes down around you, and you don't want that. You don't want to be the reason why someone's confidence has been lessened, you know? So just take a step back, chill. Don't be so critical of other people's lives. Like, you just need to understand that whatever you're doing in life is what's best for you, and obviously you want to give your opinion sometimes and you want to be there for people, but try to limit that to only once in a while, or when you're asked. If people ask you their opinion, go off. They ask for it. But if people are not asking you, just do what you can do to help. But sometimes you need to understand that, like, you can't save everyone and you can't help everyone, and sometimes your way of doing things is not the best way. It's not the only way. So it can get very, very, very toxic. So I know a lot of Virgos probably are being like, oops. So at least you know, just be mindful. Okay, so Libra, your toxic trait is that you're immature, and you know, this leads to lack of communication skills, which is weird because, okay, I do think the Libras know how to communicate when they're in the right state of mind, but it takes them a while to get into the right state of mind, and it takes them a lot of like nonsense to get to that place. And once they get to that place, you can have a great conversation with them, but before that place, it's just like terrible communication skills, lack of confrontation, pettiness, immaturity, them ignoring you. So I'm going to talk about that. So how it's toxic is that the Libra, a lot of times they just don't want to communicate, and it's just like, okay, like, what the fuck? Do I not matter to you? The Libras like to think things through in their mind a lot, but before that, they just become so hot-headed and they get so immature that they just don't want to talk about things, and they just avoid confrontation, and they just want to ignore everything you're saying and everything you're feeling until they want to talk about it. But they don't tell you this. They don't communicate this. Like, they don't say, hey, I'm pissed off, I don't want to talk, let's talk in an hour. They just kind of like go ghost and act like they don't give a fuck, and it's very confusing because you're just like, hello, I'm trying to work through this with you, and they act like they don't care, and either A, they'll just act normal later, or B, they'll talk about it when they want to bring it up. And at that point, you're more pissed off because now you feel like you've been, you know, devalued and ignored, and you just don't feel good about yourself because you're just like, what the fuck? Like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And it just makes no sense. They're very immature. They get very, very petty, and they want to make you feel bad about yourself sometimes, or they want to throw things in your face, and they get very narcissistic, and it's just so confusing because they don't communicate what they're feeling and why they're feeling it. They just act off of like nonsense. So eventually they do get to the place where they want to communicate, and at that point they do a much better job. Once they're more level-headed and thinking logically, then they can really do a good job of that. But in the early stages of like their anger or their feelings, they just don't know how to process them effectively, and it really affects the other person, and it's not right. So if you're a Libra and you know you're arguing with someone instead of just like, okay, so if you're Libra, let me paint a picture for you. This is probably something that's happened. You piss someone off, you're in the wrong, right? You are in the wrong, and your friend or your boyfriend or your girlfriend explains to you why they're upset or why, you know, what you did is wrong. So instead of just listening, you'll laugh, or you'll get mad, or you'll get defensive, or you'll just like make fun of them, like, okay, like you just like make them feel stupid in a way. That's maturity right there. Why don't you just stop and think, oh, they're opening up to me, let me ask about it, let me understand their feelings, let me listen. You guys instead kind of like belittle them and their feelings because you haven't processed what they're saying yet, and then eventually you process it and you're just like, oh, I fucked up, oops. And then like you overthink that, so you go quiet and then you ignore them, and then you just like decide to talk about it like 10 hours later, and at this point they're just like what the fuck? They're like, huh? Like how do you want to talk now when I tried to tell you something 10 hours ago? Now I'm pissed off even more. And it just becomes like a big problem. So if that sounds familiar to you, you're probably a Libra, and you should probably work on that. All right, so Scorpios. So you guys are trouble. Your toxic trait is that you want to be mysterious so damn bad that you get super private. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. You guys are very private, and it's just strange. I don't get it. It's weird. You guys also self-sabotage. I'll talk about it in a second. So with the privateness, it's very uncalled for. It's very strange because you guys are private for absolutely no reason. I might have talked about this before, but I remember I had a friend who was a Scorpio, is a Scorpio, she's not dead, and she pretty much was private about everything. I don't know why, because it's not like I was her man, it's not like I was her dad, I was not her mother. I don't know why she didn't tell me things. Like, she just didn't want to tell me things because she felt like she was entitled to her privacy for absolutely no reason. And this made me feel like she was always keeping secrets, and this was something really weird in our relationship because she was always keeping secrets. She's a good person, nice person, but I guess I'm just so open and vulnerable with my friends that when I feel like I was getting nothing out of her, it hurt me. And that's just because we're incompatible, right? I'm sure other people are cool with that. But anyways, so I remember I'd like call her after school and I'd be like, oh, what are you up to today? She'd be like, stuff. I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, what? Stuff. I'm like, okay. Like, do you want to hang out? And she's like, no, I'm busy. It's like, oh, okay, no worries. What are you doing? Like, maybe I was prying too much. No problem. Like, oh, what do you have planned? And she'd be like, seeing someone. And I'd be like, okay. So I would be like, does she have a boyfriend I don't know about? Like, does she have like a new friend? Like, what the fuck? And like, if I ever asked who, she'd be like, a person. And like, it would just be like, I'd find out the next day, it would just be like a friend that I already knew of, or like her cousin, or someone that I just didn't make any sense. Like, I was always just like, I mean, you don't have to tell me things, but like, this is nothing. Why don't you just want to tell me that you're going to Pizza Nova with Susie? You know what I mean? Like, it was so weird. She just didn't want to tell me things for absolutely no reason. And this I consider to be pretty toxic. I'm not saying, you know, she was toxic. This has nothing to do with her. I'm just giving you that example so you can understand like a simple version of a private Scorpio. Scorpios just omit information from their lives, which yes, they're entitled to, but sometimes it's like, you need to not keep everyone in the dark, because it's these are your friends, these are your lovers, these are your family members, you know, like, you don't want to make them feel like they're not close to you because you just want to not tell them that you're gonna go to Walmart to grab shampoo. And it makes things more complicated than it has to be. And I feel like this is just like a small example of the Scorpio's privateness, but this gets so much deeper than stuff like that. Like, they won't tell you the deep shit, they won't tell you anything. They'll make you feel like it's a one-sided friendship or companionship because they like listen, and they give you nothing. And you're just like, I'm trying to get through to you, I'm trying to get close to you, but you just don't give me anything. And you make me feel like like we're not close because I can't know anything about your life. And it's like, if you're choosing to put someone in your life as a Scorpio, I think it's important to share things with them and be open with them to as much as you are comfortable. I'm not saying tell them about your deep, dark wounds, but if you're going to, you know, go on a date with a new guy you just met or whatever, like, maybe you should just open up to your friends and whoever and just tell them. I feel like this is a form of self-sabotage because you guys actually don't care to tell people these things. Like, you don't care. It would probably come out if your friend didn't ask you. It probably would, but on your terms and when you want to tell them. But this is self-sabotage because you are creating problems that don't need to exist because you feel entitled to your privacy, which really isn't privacy because these things aren't private. And this is creating like ruffles in your relationships for absolutely no reason. And you know what you're doing, but you keep doing it. So stop. Okay, so that concludes the video. So I talked about 6 signs, and we are going to be talking about the next 6 signs next week. So in the next video, we'll be doing Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. I also want to know your thoughts, so I'm going to post a poll on the community tab of my YouTube page, which is, would you guys prefer like one fucking 50-minute video, that's 50-minute video, or 2 25-minute videos? Because I like don't like posting long ass videos like that, because I just feel like it's too much and it's gonna have so many ads, and I don't know, like I'd rather post it in 2 parts. But what I'm gonna start doing is actually posting the parts 1 week apart. Like if I do this one today, on this day next week, I'll be posting part 2, so that you don't have to wait a month, you know what I mean, like I've done in the past. I'm also gonna start implementing a weekly posting schedule, because I'm sick and tired of going missing for 2 months and then posting 10 videos in a week and then going missing for 2 months. Like I'm trying to keep it consistent and just post once a week, get myself back into the algorithm, get myself back into your subscription boxes, because apparently I'm not showing up in anybody's subscription box, so please let me know. And lastly, don't forget to check out Native Deodorant if you are interested in delicious smelling natural deodorants. The link is in my description. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and if you do want to see more of me, then you can check me out on Instagram, TheAmateurGuru. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, I have a podcast. My podcast is Let's Get Real, the podcast, available on Apple Podcast app, Spotify, Anchor FM, and YouTube. Whew. And I have a website, zodiac.com, for Zodiac merchant apparel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.